A little bit different than the typical Saturday vibes in that I'm in my work get up and I am at work. But what is very exciting and what I haven't mentioned, except unless you watch the end of last week's vlog, because I did tell you then, so reward if you watch the end, I am back at the facility that I interned at. Remember when I did my field placement and I loved them so much and I thought I was never going to see them all again? They need some extra help on the weekends, and so that is me. I am that extra help, and I won't be too long that I'm there today, but I'm gonna head in, see what needs to be done. I'm excited to be back. I'm also a little bit apprehensive because I haven't worked a weekend before and it's just a lot different because there's like less staff there. I don't hold keys. I don't know if they'll let me have a radio or not. We'll just have to see. There's a lot that's like unknown about how I'm gonna manage the day, but theoretically it'll be good. And I'm gonna see some kids that, like I said, I thought I was never gonna see again. So that's the perk always. Yeah, so that's something that I hadn't mentioned yet, but obviously it was very exciting for me. But like I said, I went back to the same facility that I did my internship at. And so if you're new, because some people have been new since I've done my field placement, whenever I was getting my Master of Social Work this past school year, I was interning at a different facility that I'm currently working at now. And so I was there from September to April. And so what is that, 7 months, 8 months maybe? And haven't been back since, I think April 29th was my last day of field. Obviously not thinking I would ever go back because at the time they were entirely fully staffed. And so they didn't have an open position for me to hire into, and they also are a lot further away from where I live in Atlanta, but they have needed some extra help. And so whenever I'm working weekends, every other weekend I'll be at my old facility, and then every other weekend, like the rotation that's not that, I'll be at my new one, which I have kind of hinted that something would be happening or like going on or something exciting. And honestly, that's it for me, which I am very glad to be in a job and in a position that I feel so excited to go. Like this morning I could hardly wait to go, but also part of that is because a lot of the kids who were there when I interned are still there. Obviously there's new faces and obviously some of them have left, but there's still some around that are the same that were there when I was 7 months there. And so I made a little TikTok of like some of the reactions I got. One of my favorites, there was one kid who, I was in like the day room and he was in his room, so it was like a whole separate hall and everything, but I guess somehow he had angled himself in his window just right to where he could be able to see me, and he was literally bouncing up and down. And this is a full, like, he's 15, about to turn 16, jumping up and down and yelling, "It's Miss Shaw, guys, Miss Shaw is here." And I just like, because I talked about whenever I was finishing my field placement that termination is definitely something we talk about in social work, like how to end services well, but I feel like we don't always talk about like the grieving of relationships lost with clients, because obviously there's the barrier, you know, where like you have a boundary, an emotional boundary with clients, but you still care for the clients that you work for and you still like hope for their success and, you know, enjoy being around them. And I feel like there's a certain like grieving or mourning period whenever something happens, like my field placement ending, where I was like, I'm not gonna see these kids again. And I like had accepted that, like it was going to be fine, but it was fun to show back up. Some of them though, like one of the kids who was the most upset back in April whenever I was leaving, today I walked on his hall because I was like just walking through and he was lounging on his bed reading a book, and he literally just like, "Oh, sup," and goes back to his book. I was like, hey. One kid told me that he doesn't have to say hi to me because he already stored up all of the niceness that he can attribute towards me, and he didn't know to save some because I was coming back, so he doesn't have any niceness to give to me, which is fine. Like, I respect that. I didn't know I was coming back either. But that being said, this was also my first weekend working, and so weekends look just a little bit different, and then it'll also look a little bit different whenever I'm just being like extra help, but it's not like my home facility. So the main things that are important are checking on the kids that are higher risk, just because they need to be checked every single day, and then like if any safety protocols need to change or anything, then I could do that. And so it's just kind of rounds, like doing rounds, and there's a list of kids that I need to see each day, and so that's mostly what I'll be doing whenever I go in. But then there are also, like, if I have time, I'll do some of the other tasks that come up. And so today I did do part of an assessment, and I'll finish it tomorrow because today's Saturday, I'll work Sunday, and then Monday is the 4th of July. And so actually on the 4th of July, and this is like a sneak peek because I'm planning on smushing them all into this video, on the 4th of July I'll be going into both my facilities, so we'll have to see how that goes. So I did part of an assessment today that I'll finish up tomorrow, though, was the main point of that. And honestly, even just the staff, like, it was really cool to see everyone again, because I know, like, I'm obviously not going to be there, and I do really like where I am now and don't want to change, don't want to move, but it is kind of fun being in this situation where I can do all of the hours that I'm doing at my internship facility, and then it's additional hours that I'm doing the extra help, so the paychecks will hopefully like that too. I think I keep starting vlogs with big talking clips like this, but I feel like it's because I just have a lot to say. And also Also, I was really bad at doing like any kind of b-roll today because I've been making a TikTok of my day, and so I keep thinking to take footage for the TikTok, but I haven't been thinking to take footage for the YouTube. I don't know if you can tell, but I laid out by the pool for a little bit. Don't know if you noticed the bronze golden feeling, and I read just a little bit by the pool. It was really just so hot that I couldn't stay out for too long. I did go work out today. I remember whenever I was trying out Pilates, I didn't stick with it. They felt good, but it really is just like a mental thing for me where I would get bored. And so I think like I'm not signing off from them. Like I think I will try to incorporate when I can some back in. We'll just kind of see. But what I've mainly been doing in the past like week is Sydney Cummings workout, just because I really like her, and I feel like I'll venture away for a few months and I just always end up coming back to Sydney. So if you're looking for just like a fun way to get moving, get working out, it's Sydney Cummings. I think it's now Sydney Cummings Howdy Shell on YouTube because she recently got married and also recently had a baby. But she has all kinds of workouts, ones that use weights, ones that are entirely body weight. They hit all different parts of your body, but then she also does programs so you can like progressively get better. So really like her. Like I mentioned, this will be it's technically a weekend in my life, but it's like a work weekend in my life. I need to like look up on YouTube and see how people word these kinds of videos of people work weekends, because I work weekends now. Oh, I do want to specify though. So in previous vlogs, whenever I've talked about my second job not starting yet, this isn't what I meant by that. I really am still doing my tutoring job, which if you've been around since grad school, you know about. If you haven't, you probably don't, because I really took a break from it. But I do ACT, SAT tutoring, and that starts July 13th is when that will go. So that's different, but I'm really trying to get all kinds of streams of income because, okay, also, and I guess this maybe is because it's my first time having like a big girl job. I got my first paycheck today. It came in the mail, the old fashioned style, and out of my gross pay, like my hourly rate times the hours I worked equals gross pay, out of that, I only received 73% this time, which felt low, especially because I'm part-time, so I don't have benefits. But what it seems like is they take, so there's all the like federal tax, state tax, but then they also, the state takes, I forget what it's called, but basically it's like a retirement fund, and it grows 0.5% each year, which if you're not familiar with like financial things, that's not high, especially for being like inaccessible to me. So that was a surprise when I got my paycheck, but we'll make do. We'll make it work. I think that was all the updates I had in my mind. I had a lot to talk about, mostly because I'm just really excited to be back at that old facility because it just feels like it's for fun. Like I am working, but like it feels like it's for fun. Hopefully it stays that way for the rest of the weekend too. Even Monday, whenever it's gonna be like going between 2 and 1 day. We'll see. Another day done. I just got back from, honestly, I was only there 2 hours today, which is nice because then there's an hour drive on either side. So really it was like a 4-hour work day, but I finished up the assessment that I started yesterday and I did my rounds, and that was about it. I ended up getting everything done efficiently, and for working weekends, this is pretty nice because it is like about 12 p.m. right now and I am home. So really big loves for that. I'm feeling kind of exhausted, which is silly because I slept really well last night, but I feel like it was almost too well, where now it's like, that was good, more of that. But the good thing is that I have time where I can kind of just chill for a little bit and then kind of start mustering up energy to go work out. I don't know if I'm gonna lay out again. It's so like fun to be out in the sun, but it's so hot to be out in the sun. Gotta go grocery shopping today, kind of just do the regular Sunday activities, you know? Yeah, I'm excited for that, can you tell? I feel like I've just been working, but I just finished another day at my internship facility, and by day I mean literally 2 hours, I think even a little bit less than. I just came in this morning to really just sign off, like check on kids, sign off that everything's good, make sure nothing needed to get done. It really didn't need to get done, and so done here and about to head to the facility that I actually work at. So we're just doing the state tour of youth detention centers today, but I mean it's fine, like it's good, and driving's kind of fun, you know, put on some good tunes, it's all good. I'm making another day in my life TikTok. I feel like I've really like hit my grind with those, which is fun, so follow me on there if you'd like to, and let's move on to the next. Right here. I'm really out here turning into a Starbucks girly, but they sent a little notification today that said 50% off any cold drink, and they have a little extra star thing happening for vanilla sweet cream cold brews, so I was like, twist my arm. I couldn't just do it regular though, and so I got 1 pump hazelnut syrup and 2 pumps vanilla syrup. I don't know why. I don't know if it really even changed what it tastes like. But before I get into letting you know what we're doing today, I also want to talk about another chaotic thing, in that I tried to take this little clip while I was sitting in that Starbucks parking lot, and I'm driving Zach's car today. I don't know if you can tell if it looks different. Honestly, the interiors look similar to whenever you've seen my car before, but I'm driving Zach's car today, and I guess it didn't like me just like sitting in here not driving, and it turned on the anti-theft thing, so I couldn't turn the key in the ignition. So I was sitting there and I was like, I'm gonna be living in Starbucks now. Like, I could not get it to turn. So I looked up a little YouTube video, and just fun little tip if this ever happens to you, because it's happened to me before but not in this car, and apparently whenever the ignition doesn't turn, it's because it turned on the steering lock. And so if you are like start turning the key in the ignition and kind of like move the wheel kind of right to left, it will let it go and let it turn on. So that worked. I did that and I made it home. But today is monumental in that it is the day that I'm starting to study for my LMSW exam. And so I've mentioned it a little bit before, but essentially the process of getting licensed once you graduate with your Master of Social Work, and again, this is very state by state a little bit, but the main part of it is the same, is that I graduated, I sent in my application, we did that last week, remember, and it's supposed to arrive today. I've been tracking it. And then once the board like reviews my application and everything that came with it and approves me, then I'm able to register for a date to sit and take an exam. And when I pass that exam, then I am licensed. So I haven't really studied yet, partly because I haven't felt any kind of urgency, because I don't know when I'm sitting to take the exam, and I feel like it's kind of hard to study without like that end goal in mind. Like, it just kind of, I don't know, it just feels different. But the fact that I sent my application, I think mentally helped me make that switch. And so what I'm going to do today is I found a diagnostic practice test, essentially. They say that it's best to study a little bit and then take this test to find out like where the gaps still are, where you still need to study. But the fact that I just came out of grad school makes me feel like I've already a little bit studied. Like, some of the knowledge is going to be there. Obviously not all of it, but some of the knowledge is going to be there. And so I'm going to take this exam to kind of just get a starting point of like where I'm even at and what parts I really need to focus on when I study, so that then I can find resources to study for those parts. I briefly in the past have like looked through, because ASWB, the people who do the exam, actually has like a list of the things that it can cover, and I've looked at it in the past, and there are some things that I'm like, oh, I learned this a lot in school, and then there's some things I'm like, I'm literally never have heard of this before. And what's interesting is a lot of the things that are mentioned, I learned mostly in my human development and family studies classes that I took, which is funny because those were not my social work classes. There was a series of 2 social work classes, that I can't remember what it was called now. I think it was like social development across the lifespan or something. And so in those we talked about things such as Piaget's stages, Erik Erikson, like those kinds of things. But then I also kept learning them in my human development and family studies classes. And so those things were familiar to me like a year ago, and we'll just have to see if they're still familiar to me. And then there's other things that I never even heard in school, but that I learned like through my internship and now use in my work. For example, stages of change, I never heard mentioned in a social work class at all. And I showed up my internship and they used them, and I was like, what's this? And so now I know them more. Like, it's pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, maintenance, and then some people add like a relapse and getting back onto it thing. But I don't know, I just think it's interesting looking over like all of the information that's covered, because it's a lot, but also not all of the questions are recall questions. Like, some of them I think even if I don't know the information, I may be able to like deduce and get there. But I mean, that's why I'm sitting down taking the test today. It's 4 hours long. At least I get 4 hours. We'll see if I take all 4 hours today. I honestly feel like I probably will though, because it's meant to give you time to like go back and review, and I don't know how much I'll actually like do that taking this practice test, just because I'm trying to see like where my knowledge is and what I need to study. But it's 170 questions, so I imagine it'll take a second for sure. I'm taking a small break. I am 100 questions in because there's an email that I just remembered I want to respond to kind of promptly today to keep the conversation flowing. But like I said, 100 questions in, I've been highlighting in blue words that I want to look up or get to know better. And so you can see there's a lot of blue that's kind of around this. I do think this is helpful though, even as a starting point, because one, I'm seeing a lot of words thrown around. I'm like, oh, I've heard that before, but I don't quite remember what what it is, or like what the distinction between it and something else is. And then also because the way the questions are set up just takes some getting used to, in that there's a lot of questions that says, what should the social worker do? And then all 4 options aren't necessarily bad or wrong, but it's like you have to triage like what either is the first thing they should do or the best thing they should do. And so I do think that those will become easier once I start looking at the actual like test taking strategies for this test. I can see where it's tough, but I also feel like it will be manageable. But I also am glad I'm doing this because it's helping me realize that like I do need to study, even if it's just vocab, because like a lot of it is application, but it's application in the way that like if you don't know what one of the words means, then it's hard to apply it, obviously. And so I don't know, I'm glad I'm taking a test. Honestly, it's kind of fun. I feel like putting this knowledge to use. I do really want to like schedule my test though, so I have a date that I know, but it's fine. Don't you wanna know that the tide's changing? Don't you wanna know that the ride is yours? All right, I've sent my emails and now I'm kind of just like messing around to avoid doing the rest of my test. But I'm gonna do the rest of my test so that I can analyze and figure out what I still need to know, which is everything, it seems like. Like it's such a weird mix of feeling confident because a lot of the things I'm like, oh yeah, I know exactly what they're looking for. But then some of the questions, I don't, you know? Which I get is not a groundbreaking thought, but I think it's just like slowly sinking in that like I am studying for my licensing exam, which is big. I can't even lie. As I was grading the test, because I did finish, but as I was grading it and counting up how many I missed, I was like, you idiot, you don't know anything. But then whenever I actually counted them up, I did get a passing score, which is a good confidence boost. And also, remember, I'm literally like a month, maybe 2 months out of grad school, so a lot of this is just like fresh in my head. But there's definitely things that I want to study because I'm just not confident in them. But a lot of the ones that I missed, I narrowed it down to 50%. Like I got rid of 2 answers correctly, but then picked wrong out of the 2 that I had left. So I definitely am going to need to study more, even just like for confidence reasons. But I am going to see, like, based on all the oranges, all the ones I missed. Based on the ones I missed, somewhere, I forget, it's going to tell me like which subjects I need to study the most. So I'm going to add all that up and see. I was going to say you won't believe how much time I spent at this desk today, except that it very much is reminiscent of the grad school era of this channel. So I think you really would believe how much time I spent at this desk today. But basically to recap about the test. So I found the file online of the test that I took today, and I printed off just part of the file, just the questions and the answer key, and that's it. Not the detailed explanations, not the actual diagnostic part of it or anything like that. And I went back to the exact same place that I found the file, the exact same Facebook group, and it's gone. So I think if I remember correctly, I downloaded it onto my work computer yesterday, so I should be able to go back tomorrow and see the rest of the file so I can actually like get the diagnostic part of that test, because I feel like that's pretty anticlimactic to be like, well, okay, I got some right, some wrong, but what do I study now? The whole point of the test, I still don't know. The other update though that is fun about today is that I got notification that my application that I sent in got delivered today. So July 5th, monumental. And so the application is delivered. And if you remember, I submitted my college transcript request for them to send a transcript to the people that it needs to go to. And I got notice on Sunday that it was in the mail. So I assume that that should be arriving maybe like tomorrow or so. And then I think they'll email me if other things are missing. But regardless, everything should be in time for the August board meeting, which is when they like sit down and review all the files and then let me know whether or not I'm able to sit for the test. So I feel like that's a good update of all of that. The other thing that I spent time doing today was a lot of YouTube work, just like planning videos, planning concepts that I want to focus on in the coming future, because I think it is easy to kind of get uninspired and in a rut. And not that like work vlogs or anything like that are bad. Like I love making them. I love watching other people's, and I've gotten good feedback on like work in the life vlogs, but I would also like to still incorporate some of the like more searchable videos, the ones that are helpful to people who are going through their journey of social work. You know, like my field placement one, all you need to know about field placement, or like what I wish I knew before I majored in social work, or the ones that are about different theories and perspectives, because I like being able to reach people that way as well. So I've just been sitting down and trying to plan out a lot, and you probably would have seen it by now, but I put in the community tab to like Google Forms asking just like for feedback essentially, which some people have filled out, and it really means the world for me. So if you haven't yet and you would like to go, it should still be in the community posts, and I'll be sending some people people some Starbucks gift cards on me so you can get coffee on me as a little thank you for providing feedback for the channel. I have about 30 minutes right now before I go back to pick Zach back up, and so I really am just finishing up kind of making a to-do list for the month, sort of, to make sure all my ducks are in a row in my brain, in my head, so that I can continue to be putting like 2 videos out a week. That's my goal, and that's a tough goal, especially because lots of busy things are happening, but it should be good. This day off really didn't feel like a day off, to be honest. But after I pick Zach up, I'll try to take some time to go work out, read, or like do something restful, relaxing.
There ain't nothing better. We're up and we're out in the perfect weather. I just wanna run away with you. I just wanna run away with you. Don't you?
I honestly feel like I just had a really good day today, and I had a lot of energy to burn off, and so I went and worked out for honestly quite a long time. But I've gotten back into my Sydney Cummings grind, and I'm just a really big fan of hers, and so I actually did 2 of her workouts today because, like I said, I had a lot of energy to burn off. But I think it's just because I have a really good feeling for all that is to come, and I hope that you can tell that too. Just like, I'm really excited about what I'm doing and my job and this channel and the licensing that is impending, and I just feel very thankful that a lot of good things have happened, and also feel really excited for a lot of good things that are to come. So upcoming this week, starting tomorrow, I'll be going in for 5 days in a row, I believe. Let's see, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I have 6 days that I'll be going in after today, and of course that'll be vlog. I don't know if I'm gonna do this yet, but I feel like pretty soon I'm gonna have to switch my week vlogs to start on like Thursday and go to Monday, because that's gonna be my work week. It's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, instead of regular work week, and then like Tuesday and Wednesday for the most part are my days off. Which, what's so funny is like Tuesday and Wednesday is not like a regular weird weekend to have, but it's exactly what my schedule was in grad school. Remember? Because I would go into jail Monday, Thursday, Friday, and then I would do my tutoring job Saturday, Sunday, and so Tuesday, Wednesday, like my days off. And now that's happening again. Pretty soon my tutoring job is going to start again. It starts actually next week, so pretty soon I'll be balancing 2 jobs on top of YouTube work and all of that. So I don't know, things are changing, but like I said, just have a good attitude going forward, and we'll continue to update you along the way. So I'll see you next time.
I do better things with my time than trying to make